Now it is okay. Next, we have to update the relevant record in the toy collection table by clicking the Add button in front of the number of cars and dolls. First, let's consider the case of clicking the Add button in front of the number of cars. At this time, 1 should be added to the number of cars. I click UI controls and drag an on-event code block. Let's select the button we want from here. I selected button Add Save. Let's click here. Next, we need to read the records in the table we created. For that, a read records code block under data is dragged here like before. Let's give the name of the table here as toys collection in inverted commas. Now, read the data in the table and find the record with the string value assigned in the US variable in the name column. The car column of that record needs to be updated. Here, it needs to be given as name :US in the code block in front of the table name in curly brackets. But since there is no code block that matches with it, we have to type this part. I click on this Show Text button. The code we need is in the 23rd line. Let's type as name :US in curly brackets. Now click again on these show blocks. Since the for loop and the console log code block in this read record code blocks are not needed for our code, let's remove that part. I click on this code block and drag it to the place where it is said clear below. Before updating the record in the table, let's create a variable called temp to assign the ID of the record related to the selected child as well as the values required for the column name, cars and dolls. Click variables and drag a var x equal code block into this read records code block. Temp is given here. Brackets should be provided to the right side of the equal sign. I click on Show Text again and add a pair of brackets to the right side of the equal sign in the 24th line. Now, let's click on Show Block. Next, the ID of this record should be assigned in temp.id variable. Let's drag an x equal code block under variables here. Since there is no code blocks to create the code as we need to type and prepare this part as well. So let's click on Show Text again. Here, instead of x, I give as temp.id. To the right side of the equal sign, within brackets, record within box bracket 0.id is given. Let's click on this show block again. Yes, the code blocks have been created as per our requirements. Currently, the name stored in the US variable needs to be assigned to the temp.name variable. For that, let's drag an x equal code block under variables again. We need to type and prepare this part as well. So we click on Show Text again. Here, instead of x, let's give temp.name and US on the right side of the equal sign. Now, let's click on Show Blocks again. Okay, now let's add 1 to the number of cars in this record and update the record. Click variables again and drag an x equal code block like this. Drag a code block with the plus sign under math to the right side of the equal sign. Now, let's click on Show Text and give as record box bracket 0.2 to the right side of the equal sign instead of x. Let's give here as within brackets record within box bracket 0.car and type 1 here. Now in records box bracket 0.car, the total number of cars has been stored along with the number of newly added cars. Next, let's assign the number of cars in the temp.car variable and the number of dolls in the temp.doll variable. I drag 2x equal code blocks under variables here again. Let's click on Show Text and type code. The part we want to create is in line 28 and in line 29. In line 28, to the left side of the equal sign, it is given as temp.car and to the right side it is given as within brackets record box bracket 0.car. Also, to the left side of the equal sign in the 29th line, it is given as temp.doll instead of x, and to the right side it is given as within brackets record box bracket 0.doll. Now the table needs to be updated with the new values assigned to the temp variable added to this record. For that, let's drag the update record code block in the UI controls like this. Here, the name of the table is given in inverted commas as Toys Collection. The ID, name and the Bob code block which is in front is removed and given as 10. Now, if this record is successfully updated, the number of cars in the label C in front of the car on the display screen should change. Along with the number of newly added cars, the current total number of cars is assigned in records box bracket 0 cars variable. Let's give the value assigned to this variable as text of label C. Now, we drag an if code block into the update record code block. For that, I drag the set text code block under UI controls into this update record code block. Now, let's type success here. Let's click on this arrow and select the name of the desired label as label C. Here, it needs to be given as record box bracket 0.car. This part cannot be created by a code block, so we will have to type it. Let's click on show text again. Let's remove the part called text along with the inverted commas in the 32nd line and type as within brackets record box bracket 0.car and click on show blocks again.